Hello, everyone. Happy May the 4th. If my timing is correct, this is coming out in celebration of all Star Wars things. So we're going to be doing something pretty fun today, I think, Cassia. A couple weeks ago, when we started doing our KOTOR 2 companions, we just had a random line where we said something about someone having a pie, and then it turned into this whole thing. So we thought, what better way to celebrate May the 4th than to assign everyone a pie aboard the Ebon Hawk?
Yeah, in the first KOTOR, and I think we're calling this KOTOR a la mode. So we're excited about it. Like, this is the content that I think people want.
Absolutely. I think people want it. People love KOTOR. People love having delicious tasting like pies from their favorite local diner. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So basically, what happened is the crew of the Ebon Hawk, at the end of Knights of the Old Republic, we go to the Star Forge, we defeat Malik, it blows up. Everyone's having a good time, but we're pretty tired, right? We've been across the galaxy hunting down star maps and things. So what is a crew to do? We're going to stop at Yavin on our way. We're going to, refuel the Ebon Hawk. We're going to recharge, rest up, and we're going to swing by the local Yavin diner and see what our characters are getting up to in terms of their favorite dessert orders.
Yeah, and maybe they would fight over the pies. Maybe they would, you know, um, just be peaceful and cool if their favorite pie flavor is not available. But I'm excited for this episode. It's a fun character episode.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. When we're talking about the KOTOR 2 companions, they would definitely not stop and have any pie or desserts or any meals together because they all don't like each other basically that much. So they're gonna like scatter to the wind. But this crew, these are like besties. They're gonna go. They're gonna sit down. They're gonna get a big pot of coffee, a calf, and they're gonna order their favorite kind of pie. So I think we should probably just dive on into this, Cassia, because we have a lot of different pie flavors and options to talk about, and then we got some responses off of our Discord and from some previous guests that we've had on the podcast. So we want to make sure we give them time to chime in as well. So let's get started. Let's start with everyone's favorite mission. What do you think, Cassia? What kind of pie is Mission going to step up to the counter and order?
I really struggled about this because she's kind of at the age where I think like she could be most picky or
Oh,
like
okay.
just want to try all the pies. Um, and I was like, she is a blue Twi'lek, like would she be drawn to a cheesecake that is blue, just
Mm.
for fun or and then like I was like I'm gonna settle on like a traditional pie and I was like I think maybe raspberry because it's a nice intense taste and sometimes like when I was that age I was like my palate wasn't that refined and I'm like oh cool I'm gonna eat all these sour patches and like ruin my tongue for a week so
That's
yeah.
fair. Yeah, Sour Patch Kids are delicious on a side note. Big fan of sour candy myself. But yeah, Mission was a tricky one for me too. But the way I went with this is I'm saying that Mission is having some apple pie a la mode because Mission is basically like the kid of the group, and kids love apple pie. It's not like super adventurous, like some weird like lemon meringue pie. It's what kids like and are drawn to, and that scoop of ice cream, that's the best. And Mission also, she has her sweet vibroblade. She's going to use that to steal bites from everyone else's pie. Because Mission is getting into mischief, but yeah, she's going apple pie a la mode, I think.
Yeah, well, that's a good choice.
Good choice. All right, well let's stick close by Mission there, and we're going to go to her best pal, Big Z. What do you think about Big Z? What kind of pie is he going to have? He's probably pretty hungry after cruising around the galaxy, so he needs something good to eat. What do you think Big Z Zalbar is going to be going for?
I think he would have a platter of shepherd's pie. And
Okay.
I think it's a Wookiee thing, like we kind of were talking about like Han Har, like he'd probably have a very rare version of shepherd's pie. And maybe Zalabar would like porgs in his shepherd's pie,
Okay.
because Chewie in The Last Jedi, I'm pretty sure ate some porgs in front of other porgs. which was maybe not the best, look, but he did.
It was very traumatic for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking kind of along those same lines. I don't know if there's like some favorite wild game that is native to Kashyyyk. Maybe there's some Kinrath wild game. I don't know, but I think that Big Z is going to scoop up one of the Gizka we've had running around, turn that into a pot pie, and that's what he's going to go. He needs something more substantial than just a dessert pie. He's probably also going to also have a dessert pie too, to be clear. But yeah, Gizka pot pie is the way that Big Z is going, I think.
Huh, Gizka. I've always wanted to try a Gizka taco, like if that ever happened at Galaxy's Edge, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna try this Gizka taco, and if it's good, I might end up, spending a whole paycheck there. So,
That's right. We definitely need some Gizka merch, and it's May the 4th. So what better time than right now for some Gizka merch for sure. So
why not?
yeah, so that is Mission and Big Z there. Let's go on to the droids. These ones are tricky because they're droids. They don't eat pie, really, so to speak, but they still might want some pie. So what do you think? Let's start with the best droid, T3. T3M4, Cassia. What do you think T3 is bringing on board the Ebon Hawk?
Oh boy. Um, in KOTOR 2, I was kind of like maybe an ice cream pie, like maybe in KOTOR 1, he's just kind of a little bit more happy, not as jaded. He hasn't seen as much, serious stuff, you know, in KOTOR 2. I think he has has had to live a longer, droid life.
He still has his droid-like innocence.
Yeah, he has his droid-like innocence in KOTOR 1, so like maybe an ice cream pie, like but with like more chocolate chips
Mm.
in it and like chocolate on top, like but as he grows into who he is in KOTOR 2, like less chocolate, it's just kind of like maybe a vanilla, you know.
It's more jaded after spending all day with Kreia after
Yeah.
KOTOR 2 for sure. Yeah, that's very good. The ice cream cake, that's good. He's got the carbonite blaster, so we can keep it cold at all times. You won't have to worry about it melting. That is a really good pick. I think that T3 is going to go with the cheesecake because T3 doesn't need a pie, but cheesecake freezes really good. So he's got that going for him. And a cheesecake is the same basic shape as his head. So he's going to grab a cheesecake. He can put it like right there, like pie platter on top of his head, and carry that back on board the Ebon Hawk and save some of that for later, I think.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So we got a T3 there. What about our other droid companion, HK47? He's assassinating people left, right, and center, but maybe he wants to have a piece of pie. I don't know for sure. What do you think, Cassia?
So I did a lot of research for HK47 because I was
HK
like,
pie theory.
yeah, like, and I went to a chocolatier place, and looked at the different, chocolate flavors. Like it's not pie, but it kind of overlaps, and there was one that was called the Phoenix truffle, I think, and
Ooh.
I was like, "What's that?" Because it just looked different, and they said like, "Oh, it's like orange and cinnamon, just like with some like kind of hot cinnamon on top." And I was like, "Huh," because I think like HK47 would kind of like not have a traditional pie
Mm.
flavor like as his choice, even though he's a droid and literally doesn't have to eat, but we're going with it anyways. So I was like, I think in the first one, KOTOR 1, he would like kind of like an edgy pie flavor, like it's like orange but with some cinnamon, and like maybe like in KOTOR 1 he'd be like, let's put some Tabasco sauce on top of it just to be
Ooh.
edgy, like, but maybe in KOTOR 2, there wouldn't be the Tabasco sauce, you know.
Yeah, there you go. He's toned it down a little bit in KOTOR 2 after he's been disassembled again. So yeah, I like that. I like that combination there with the cinnamon because that's going to be kind of the same color as HK-47, I guess. So it's going to match. You could keep it, I guess, on like his utility belt. It's going to blend in to him. So that's a good option. I said for HK-47, no pie because statement: we're wasting time eating pies when we could be dispatching our enemies. HK-47 has no time for pies, only for hunting and killing. So those are our droids there, Cassia. Let's keep moving through the crew here. We're doing pretty good, I think. First up is our Mandalorian hero, Canderous. What do you think Canderous is going to there in the diner pie turntable thing?
Is he a hero? No, just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely he is. He is the hero that Mandalore deserves.
Okay, but not the one it needs right now.
Like Canderous is the Batman of KOTOR. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I had a hard time like with Canderous. I was like, would he like apple pie? And like
Mm-hmm.
would fight with someone else later down on the list, like if there was only one more slice, or like if they were saving it in the fridge and then someone had it, like would it reignite some wounds from the Mandalorian Wars? And I was also like, what if he liked pumpkin, and like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it could be like a bonding moment with someone later down on the list. Um, and I was like, I think Canderous, he'd probably be like conscious about like his body and stuff. Uh, so like maybe he doesn't indulge in pie all the time, but he's not as picky, you know. Uh, he'll just have what's there for the calories and like be like, it was good, even though it was horrible. But in his heart of hearts, he wants a traditional Mandalorian pie that only he knows the recipe to, and he kind of locks that away because of unprocessed trauma.
Mm, okay. Okay. Yeah, I do like that. I would be inclined to think that Canderous has a very vigorous workout routine. See, he can afford the calories of some pies. So I'm going for Canderous myself. Nice slice of peanut butter pie because I think that Canderous likes decadence. He likes decadent things, but he's not pretentious, so to speak. So he's going to drink, some fine Corellian brandy whenever he gets a chance. He has the finest weaponry in the galaxy, and he's going to go for a gluttonous portion of peanut butter pie. My question is, though, do Mandalorians have peanut allergies? I don't know. Let us know down in the comments if you think that Mandalorians are a-okay with peanuts. But I'm going peanut butter pie for Canderous.
Oh, that would be interesting. So that's a good choice.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from Canderous, let's go next to Juhani, our lightsaber wielding companion here. What do you think Juhani is going to get up to when it's time for her to make her order at the Yavin diner?
At first, I was like, would she like something like a fish pie? Like
Mm-hmm,
salmon,
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
because she's like a Cathar. But I'm like, maybe she doesn't want to be totally defined by being a Cathar.
True, true.
And I was like, maybe she would like pumpkin, you know, and it could be like something that her and Candace like kind of bond over because in my head, in the KOTOR cinematic adaptation that's not happening cinematic universe, like Juhani and Candace kind of become friends and
Mm-hmm.
kind of become like BFFs, and they could like bond over pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I like that. I like them becoming friends and sitting down over some nice pumpkin pie with some whipped cream. That sounds pretty good to me. My pick for Juhani is a wildberry pie because wildberries, that's probably, I guess, what she was planning on living off of when she's running away from the Jedi Temple to go live out in the wilds of Dantooine, I suppose. But wildberry pie, it's kind of sweet. It's kind of tart. So you never know exactly what it's going to be. You know, what that blend of berries is going to taste like. Is it going to be more sweet? Is it going to be a little more tart this time? You never know. And you never know with Juhani. Is she going to be good? Is she going to be bad? I don't know. Hard to say. And Juhani likes the element of surprise. So I am saying a wildberry pie for Juhani.
Huh. That's a good that's a good thought process.
That's right. I am going to the well of my pie knowledge for all of these for sure. So you know who does have good pie knowledge though? That is Jolie Bindo. He's been around the block. He knows what's up when it comes to pies. So what do you think, Cassia? Jolie, what is his pie flavor of choice?
Huh. He's probably had all of the pie flavors. I don't know if he has a favorite, but I could see him going for a blueberry pie because I was like, Jolie is kind of neutral, you know? And in between like the blue of the light side
Mm.
and the red
Hmm.
of the dark side, you have purple. So even though a blueberry is called a blueberry, you'd think it would be kind of more like a blue pie. It's kind of more of a dark purple, you know, and maybe he would have a pie flavor close to his heart, kind of like Canderous, like that he and his wife used to share and bond over, but
Mm.
maybe
Yeah.
he just doesn't make it anymore because it ignites too many painful memories. But I was like, you know what? Like, I think I think he'd like all pies, but I think he just would be maybe more drawn to blueberry.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And blueberries could have grown naturally on the forest floor of Kashik, so maybe he got used to eating those. That was kind of what I thought when I was, initially thinking about this. Maybe he would want something that reminds him of his time on Kashik, but maybe that is a painful memory. So maybe that's not the way he's going to go. I say that Jolie Bindo has a peach pie because Jolie is old and wise, and he knows what the best flavor of pie is, which is peach pie. Absolutely. He's going to get some ice cream to go with that too because Jolie knows what's up. He's not going to listen to anyone tell him otherwise. And yeah, peach pie for Mr. Bindo.
That's a good choice. Do you think maybe Jolie, like next to his hut, like had a garden?
Oh, yeah, probably. I would say so. Jolie strikes me as the gardening type.
Yeah. It's like a contemplative uh kind of hobby and he's growing things and like maybe he would grow like healing herbs or something, maybe even on
Mm.
the Ebon Hawk, you know? And oh, that's a fun head canon. So,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jolie strikes me as the kind of person that would make like his own preserves and keep those kept up in his little hut there on Kashyyyk. So love that. Maybe that'll be May the fourth episode next year when we dive into the root cellar of Jolie Bindo. I don't know.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not exactly? So that leaves us with our main trio, as we like to think of them here on the Old Republic podcast. So who is first? That is our pilot, Karth Onassi, orange jacket and all. What do you think, Cassia? What kind of pie flavor is Karth going to be choosing after we blow up the Starforge?
Well, in KOTOR 2, we can figure out that the disciple McCall has been conversing with Karth Onassi. And so like maybe they're maybe not friends but acquaintances, you know? And that kind of got me thinking like because I was like, yep, disciple, he's an apple pie guy. And I was like, maybe maybe Karth doesn't really feel like eating desserts, or maybe he would like in like the hit the extra carbs would like kind of he'd try to use extra carbs to fill the void of losing his son and wife, but
Mm, mm, mm-hmm.
maybe if he had a flavor, it would be apple pie, you know, like because he's just like even though America doesn't exist, you know, in Star Wars, like he's kind of like the Captain America of the group, you know. And maybe like Canderous and Karth would fight over the last piece of apple pie, and it's like I put my name on it, and it's like I didn't see it because it wasn't in Mandalorian script, you know. So yeah.
That's right. And now I'm just imagining Karth yelling at Canderous for swearing all the time, just like Cap does in the Avengers there. Yeah, that's good. Karth probably is going to go something pretty plain and generic like an apple pie. I could definitely see that. I'm going to go with Karth is going to go for a coconut pie. Which sounds kind of strange. So stick with me here. So coconut pie, some people love coconut. Some people loathe coconut, but we can all admire the noble coconut for what it is, what it provides to the galaxy, and that it will always be there for us in a time of need. So hate it or love it, the coconut pie, just like Karth Onasi himself, the human embodiment of a coconut. So
Huh. For some reason, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is coming up, even though like they don't really eat coconuts in that. They just use it to sound like they're trotting,
they use it. That's
on
right.
horses. So
That's right for the horse hooves there. So yeah, so Karth, apple pie, coconut pie. I don't know. Let us know down there. So making our way to Bastila Shan. What do you think Bastila Shan is getting up to in terms of her dessert order? You know, she's been through a lot on this trip. So what do you think, Cassia?
okay. This one was the one that I was like, would Bastila really eat pie at first? Like maybe the Jedi Council would be like, oh, it's excessive, like pie and excessive joy lead to the dark side, like so you shouldn't. And she,
Excessive pie leads to the dark side. I love it.
yeah. And like maybe she'd be like, oh, I need to like stay healthy. Pie is uh, for the weak, but as she goes on her quest, like maybe she would nibble some different pies, and be like, oh, this is good. And like, oh, like as she kind of grows as a person, like just like indulgent pie, like when it's there, not all the time. But I, the flavor, I was kind of like, would she be banana? And like, yeah, I don't think she's a banana cream pie kind of
Hmm.
person. Um, I don't really see her as a lemon. So I was like, oh, I think it would be like a peach pie because it reminds me of the sunset on Dantooine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are not going to believe this because my pie choice for Basila is almost verbatim for what you just said. So, my thing for Basila right here is I say that Basila doesn't order a pie because it's not the Jedi way. Because yeah, the Jedi Council totally were like, "Don't eat pie; it's bad for you. It will lead you to the dark side." And then all of the Jedi Council members went back to their chambers and had a delicious pie that they just ate
Yeah.
by themselves because they're a bunch of jerks. So Basila doesn't order a pie because it's not the Jedi way. So Jolie grabs a second piece of peach pie and reminds her to live a little. And
Yeah.
also, I put a an appendices here that says Dark Side Bastila would have totally eaten whatever pie she wanted because Dark Side Bastila knew what was up. So yeah, peach pie from for Bastila there. Again, thanks to Jolie, I say, and that leaves us with our protagonist, Revan, Jedi Knight Revan. Remembered who he is, Darth Revan, whichever version of Revan you want, Cassia. But what kind of pie is Revan having?
So I really kind of struggled with this one because in a way, like Revan is an avatar like for the player, So like,
Mm-hmm.
but also he kind of has like he can even be a she, or
True.
they, So I mean, he does kind of have like a canonical like appearance and stuff, like which I don't really count the Revan novel, but you know, um,
If you would have eaten pie in the Revan novel, we would have liked it more, probably.
yeah, if like Bastel and Revan would have like bonded over pie or something, like I would buy their relationship more in the novel. No, just kidding. So what I kind of see is like Revan doesn't have one kind of pie he likes. he kind of reminds me of the song um Bittersweet Symphony, like where they say I can change, I can change, I can change. I just did a really good rendition of that, like we might
Mm-hmm.
be taken down for like piracy because they'll be like that sounded just like the song, you know.
That's right. Yeah, I thought the
Um
Verve jumped onto the call right there is what happened, but no,
yeah,
it's still
like
just you. Yeah.
they're copyright police. But some days I can see Revan going for a chocolate pie, a coconut pie, lemon pie, uh even like a blended pie shake. We'll talk about like that later, but I see him as someone like who just would probably get a different kind of pie every single time for different periods of his life, and it's good to not be set in your ways sometimes and try all the flavors.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I didn't even dawn on me to think about the fact that, Revan is, meant to represent us as we're playing the game. So maybe you should have picked my favorite pie for Revan, but that's not the way I went. I decided that Revan was going to have an Oreo cookie silk pie. Because
Ooh.
it is a little bit dark side, is a little bit light side, married together into one delicious treat. Just the same as Revan, a little bit of dark side, a little bit of light side, all coming together into one package there. So that is our Ebon Hawk crew. Cassia, let's I guess before we turn it over here to our feedback from our Discord servers, what do you think about Malik? No jaws, so obviously not eating a pie. What do you think?
Maybe he would just have like a liquefied pie shoved down his throat through a straw. Um,
Liquefied pie.
I think before he fell to the dark side and lost his jaw, I kind of see him as a lemon pie. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't really know why, but I'm like lemon, it's not for everyone, and then he's haunted by the fact like when he turned to the dark side, he just didn't have time for pie, and then when he loses his jaw, he realizes that he's lost out on so much of the human condition, like
Mm.
pie is taken from him. Like he can have it liquefied through a straw, but it's not the same. It's kind of like a painter going blind, a composer going deaf. He can remember the tantalizing details, but can't fully experience it anymore. I was maybe plagiarizing Matthew Stover's Revenge of the Sith a little bit, but
Wow, that was
yeah.
poetic. I loved that. That was great. Yeah, he's definitely going to have something liquefied. So I'm going to say that Malik walks in to the diner. He sees the remnants of Revan's Oreo cookie pie there, and he's going to order himself up an Oreo cookie milkshake to follow in the steps of Revan once again as they reignite their battle. But that's the way he's going to go, I think. So I don't know. That was a lot of fun. I really liked going through and talking about all these hypothetical pie situations. And doing some research, everyone out there, if you feel so inclined, you can go onto Wikipedia. There's an entry for fruits of Star Wars and read all about all of the different fruits that are in Star Wars, because I totally did that, trying to figure out how I wanted to go with this. So keep that in mind. That's something to think about if you wanted to do yourself out there, and let us know in the comments what kind of pie flavors you got, or come join us on Discord because that's a really fun place to come and chat with us all about all this crazy stuff that we talk about all the time. And that's where we got some really good feedback. So we've got our friends over at the Hero's Journey podcast. And let's see here. We've got a couple of feedback items here. So Jeff says that Bastila wouldn't eat a pie. She would nibble on one of those little tea biscuits, not finish it, and declare herself stuffed. So very kind of in line with what you thought about Bastila right there, right? Maybe just taking a little bite, doesn't want to overdo it, doesn't want to give in to temptation in such a way.
Yeah. She
And
does have a
then
character arc though.
she does have a character arc, though. That's
So
true.
she
So
grows out of that.
she does. She has to go to the dark side, confront everyone, almost to destroy the whole galaxy. But she's come around. She's got her head around it now. And then he's also Jeff also goes on to say that pumpkin pie is amazing. True story. I do like pumpkin pie. And that Canderous would eat fruitcake. What do you think? Canderous eating some fruitcake? Does that seem up the alley of a Mandalorian?
I'm not sure. There's many kinds of Mandalorians,
There's many kinds of fruitcake, I think.
and there's many kinds of fruitcake, but I kind of don't see Candace having a fruitcake. Like to me, like fruit kind of like it's like something you grow on a tree, or like in a bush, and like I kind of don't see like Mandalorians like taking the time to like plant things. Like maybe they're more raiders and stuff, or like
Mm.
kind of like cheap preservatives, like stuff like that, like because they're on the go, they don't have time to cook sometimes. So for some reason, I just don't see Candace doing a fruitcake.
Yeah, maybe Mandalorians are just taking like those little like pre-made like little Debbie cakes and pies with them around. Maybe that's what they're eating more because they're always on the move, fighting
Candace
wars
can
and
have a
stuff like
moon
that.
pie or a whoopie pie.
Oh, there you go. That's delicious. I like that. And then Dan says that Mission is wholesome, so totally an apple pie girl. I agree. I gave Mission some apple pie. I think that's probably true. He says that Karth is a pecan pie kind of guy. It's a good pie, but not everyone appreciates it, and some people downright loathe it. That's very similar to what I had to say about the coconut. Reminds him of Karth himself, and also goes on to clarify for the record that pecan pie is one of his favorite pies, especially with a vanilla bean or a scoop of vanilla bean ice cream on top. And yeah, I can agree. Down here in the South, pecan pie is a really good time. I don't know if you get that in your part of the country, Cassia, but yeah, that's a really good pie choice, I think.
I sh I shall try a pecan pie that is good one of these days. And Hearth deserves some ice cream, I think, like some really good high quality vanilla bean ice cream.
He does. I think that's where the smile came from. He got some pecan pie a la mode, and it gave him that award-winning smile at the end there. And one more here from Dan. He says, Candace eats pumpkin pie because pumpkin pie is awful, and so is he. Candace is awful? I don't know. He seems like a pretty good time, I think. Whatever his reasons were for coming along with the crew in the first place, he's turned out to be an A-okay companion, I think.
Uh, I don't think pumpkin pie is awful. Like, it's not my first choice. Like, that's the nice thing about pie is like no one is probably gonna force you to have pie unless like you're, like kind of younger and it's like a Thanksgiving dinner and
Mm.
they're like, you have to eat this pie because they made it special for you, and it's like literally I don't think the person who made it can even see or process what's going on right now, but okay,
that,
Um,
that's true. You bring up a really good point about pie theorem there is sometimes you have to have dinner and sometimes, it's not maybe what you would have picked for yourself or not your favorite thing. But yeah, you're never like, oh, I guess I just have to eat this pie that I don't like. That's that's true. So
yeah, so I could see Candace having pumpkin, and like hopefully bonding with Jupani over it. So,
absolutely. And then let's see, I got one more here from Nelson. He's our newest patron, so thank you, Nelson, for sending these our way. He makes some very scientifically sound picks, which means that Nelson, I think, wins the day right here. He says that Juhani should be pumpkin because Cathars are cat people and big cats love pumpkins. Look up how tigers in a zoo play with them. And yeah, you totally should because that's amazing. And animal videos are the best for sure. And second, because pumpkins canonically exist in Star Wars. See, maybe it was on that Wikipedia page that I was reading. I don't know for sure. But yeah, pumpkin pie for Juhani. I like that. And then it makes the best point of all time is that T3 would want a raspberry Pi. And if you don't know what that is like a little tiny computer thing that you can do a bunch of different stuff with. But yeah, of course, if you're a droid, a Raspberry Pi would be a really good pick. And I'm putting this out as a task to all of our listeners out there. If someone wants to 3D print a T3, put a Raspberry Pi in it that will play KOTOR, I would love that. I wanna see that in real life. So let me know if that
Yeah.
exists. But what do you think about that? Giovanni going with the pumpkin pie or the raspberry pie, computer pie for T3?
Yeah, I do like the idea of a pumpkin pie for Juhani and a raspberry pie for T3.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I had there on my end. I think you got a couple of comments and high choices out there as well, Cassia.
Yeah, Al, who was on our Last of Us episode, and I've been a guest on their podcast, The Movies That Move Us, a few times.
Mm.
He was kind of saying like, why not a pie shake for Revan? Uh, and a pie shake is like it's it's kind of what you think it is. It's like they blend a pie with like ice cream and milk, and it's like a shake, but it has a pie in it. So it's probably
Mm.
really not healthy for you, but they taste so good, you
Calorie
know?
free, I think.
A
It's
calorie
like a
free. Yeah.
diet. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, because he's like Revan could have a straw and have it, you know, while he's wearing his mask, you know,
Mm.
light side, dark side, who cares, you know? So,
Very
so I
logical.
thought
Very logical,
that was a
Al.
good point.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Coden, let me just pull up. There's a bit of a thread. This is gonna be fun. So
Oh.
lots of feedback from Coden. He was the co-host before you. So I asked him if he had any input, and he said, pretty sure Candace would have apple pie. And I said, interesting. Why do you think that? And then uh, this is kind of an in joke. He said, pretty sure I've heard Stephen Lang say he likes apple pie at some point. And that was his fan cast for Candace, and also like the whole cast. Basically, every role. Bastila is Stephen Lang, Karth Stephen Lang, and so I said like, so in your mind, all the characters would like apple pie, haha. It's like no, LOL, no. Zalbar is definitely a porg pie fan, so that kind of got me thinking
Mm.
like about porg, shepherd's pie, you know. And then Coden goes on to say, and since Revan in a way reflects us while playing, he's a chocolate pie person. And he's like, yeah, because that's my favorite. And I was like, interesting. And then he said, still trying to think about HK47. What about them, LOL? And I was like, I think he'd have a cinnamon orange pie with hot sauce. What do you think? And he's like, uh, LOL, maybe. And then this is really funny. Really tempted to call out pumpkin pie for Bastila to go along with her favorite coffee.
Oh.
And then I was like, "Oh, what do you think about Atris?" And he's like, I don't remember her much, maybe blackberry pie." And then I was like, "I think Atris is much more basic than Bastila. Bastila grows out of it." And he's like, that is true." Um, and then I kind of read this one wrong at first. And I thought he said Mission likes blue
Oh.
cheese pie. And I was like,
Okay.
what? This
Okay.
sounds disgusting, even though like I do like blue cheese salad. But what he said is Mission likes blue milk cheesecake. So it's a
Oh,
blue
okay.
cheesecake. That's kind of where I
Got
got my idea
gotcha.
for Mission from.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha. That's very in
yeah.
universe. I like that.
So yeah, like a little sprinkling of some of the characters, not all of them, but we don't need to bombard, our listeners with everything. And one of our patrons, Lorg, um, said like she doesn't know the characters from KOTOR well enough to make recommendations. So I said, "Cool. Are there any other Star Wars characters you know well enough to like make suggestions for?" And she said, "Luke, banana cream pie; Leia,
Okay.
pumpkin pie; Han, pecan. I guess it rhymes. It's fitting. And
True.
then
True.
Yoda, key lime pie; Emperor, cherry pie. I guess because it's red. You know.
Mm. Okay.
And then Obi-Wan is blueberry. Maybe because, like, in theory, blueberries are supposed to be blue,
Yep.
not purple. Lando peach pie, and then Darth Vader chocolate cream. Do any of those picks stick out to you?
I like the key lime pie for Yoda because that's because that would match Yoda and it would match all of Dagobah, so it would blend in really good, I think. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're going to be growing key limes on Dagobah. I don't know if it's
I
is
was gonna be
tropical
like,
enough.
I think
It'd
that'd
need
be a little
more.
too bright for Dagobah. Like, probably he could get like roots, or
Yeah,
maybe work up like a very earthy shepherd's pie or something.
yeah. Yeah, something yeah, what they would have like in the Louisiana Bayou. I'm sure there's some sort of pie they have down there that maybe would be good for Yoda, but I do love that. I love the key lime pie for Yoda because it's green like him.
I could see Yoda having a catfish pie.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then Dennis, uh, let's let's pull up what Dennis said. I think he just had like an idea for one character, and this makes it canon. If three people agree on something, doesn't that make it canon? Like, we can argue about that later, but he says,
That's
I
right.
think Karth would love just regular apple pie. So
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
canon now.
canon now. Karth ate a piece of apple pie aboard the Ebon Hawk. It's true. 110%
Yeah.
canon.
Yeah. I mean, at Galaxy's Edge, like, isn't hot chocolate canon and Coca-Cola canon? We could have had a Coca-Cola pie, like, because it's
Oh
canon.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
why
true.
not?
Why not?
Um, so Marcus said Bastila lemon pie, maybe because of her lightsaber, she's a
Mm. Mm-hmm.
sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Karth is
She does like to match. That's true.
matchy matchy. Not as much as Atris, but uh I would actually just love to see Atris and Bastila meet like at different points in their lives and kind of see how they interact. Do they like each other? Just pretend to like each other? Like, are they too
Mm.
similar to like tolerate each other? It'd be interesting. So, yeah. And then this might be a controversial one, but he says Karth carrot cake.
Okay. We had talked about carrot cake with Marcus back in our Valentine's Day episode last year, I think that was. And we had some differing opinions on it. So carrot cake is delicious. I'm guessing he's going with carrot cake because it is orange, like his jacket. So that makes a lot of sense to me, actually.
Oh, that makes sense. Because I'm like, carrot cake isn't a pie, but if it's kind of orange, that makes sense.
True.
So,
Yeah.
so mission is raspberry. Raspberry is literally what I think I said, but it's funny because it's not blue. Maybe
That's
it's a
right.
blue raspberry, even though those don't really exist in nature.
That's right. I think
Yeah,
maybe they exist in Star Wars nature. I don't
that would be cool. Let's make that canon, Disney, like blue raspberries.
Blue raspberries also 110% canon.
Hmm. And then Zalbar, he said meat pie.
Okay.
And then Canderous Rocky Road. So I'm guessing that's like an ice cream pie.
Mm. Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
after a workout, he's like, I can have this. I deserve this. Rocky Road ice cream pie. So,
That's right. Yeah, he has it's Rocky Road flavored protein shake is what he has, I think maybe.
oh yeah, like, because Canderous's character arc, his journey kind of goes along the rocky road. So it's kind of poetic.
No. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And then the next character, Jolie, like, Marcus is probably the closest thing to a Jolie expert, because he's on Chronicles of a Jedi. So this is probably canon. So he says strawberry or something cookies and cream based.
I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that those are Marcus's favorite flavors of pie. We'll have to verify that and get back to you. But yeah, those both sound delicious. Good pick for Jolie, I think.
And then Marcus says Juhani cherry pie. It's a
There you
nice
go. Okay.
flavor.
Yeah.
Traditional.
I like it.
And then Revan is half raspberry, half huckleberry. I don't think I've
Okay.
ever had a huckleberry, but that does kind
Mm,
of make sense for Revan because purple is kind of their color, you know,
yeah.
and like kind of a mixture, not like just one thing, not limited. So,
That's right. Yeah, huckleberries are delicious, and yeah, very very purple in color there. So yeah, I could see that. Yeah, kind of the same idea going for the light and the dark there on off of his two lightsabers. So yeah, I like that. Good picks there, Marcus.
yeah, so that's the feedback we got, and I don't know, we try to bring you like really important things to discuss on May the 4th, like candles, journals, journeys. Uh, and now we're bringing pies to you. So maybe next year we'll just like talk about like I don't know, something equally important as pies.
That's right. Yeah, we are digging into the depths of what makes Star Wars and KOTOR tick. And we think that it is who everyone or what everyone's pie flavor of choice is going to be. Only the most important stuff here on the Old Republic podcast. But yeah, I mean this episode, like I said, it stemmed largely from just kind of like an offhanded comment during one of our episodes, and then it turned into this whole thing where we were picking pies for our KOTOR 2 companions, and we just thought it would be fun to go back and look at our KOTOR 1 companions again because, we'll talk about KOTOR 1 whenever we can. Of course, we will, fixate on what types of, pies and ice creams are the most delicious because that makes us hungry to have a delicious piece of pie a la mode or something like that. I don't know. And, May the 4th is a celebration of Star Wars, and it's meant to be fun, and Star Wars is fun and silly at times. And that's what we're trying to bring you here on this May the 4th. So I don't know, Cassia, is there any parting thoughts or anything else we want to make mention of here before we climb back on board the Ebon Hawk and head off from Yavin and I guess go to Coruscant and get our medals or whatever we're going to do next?
Pie is good. It's good to know what flavor you're drawn to the most, but maybe just try different flavors of pie too. Maybe you'll find that you like them. And I'm kind of a hypocrite because when I go to like an ice cream parlor, I don't really try all the flavors. Sometimes I get the same thing again and again and again, like so maybe it's good to branch out.
That's right. Yeah. Expand those horizons out there and let us know what your favorite flavors of pies or cakes or what your picks for any of the KOTOR members are. And hope you're having a really fun May the 4th out there. Hopefully, you're watching Visions because that's probably what we're doing if you're listening to this right now and picking up. I know there will be some new merch and all sorts of fun stuff, just like every May the 4th. And you can go see Return of the Jedi. I think it was in theaters this week. So if you want to head out and do that and celebrate your day, just let us know what you're doing for May the 4th and celebrating Star Wars and enjoying the fandom. So I think with that in mind, Cassia, I think it is time to sign off. I am full from, having too much dessert. I need to go take a walk, burn off some of these calories and, head on out of here. So with that, I will say happy May the 4th and may the force be with you.
May the fourth be with you, and may the force be with you.